Ich will hier gar nicht sein. Torture Room. Ach, das ist ja nett. Scheiße. Ah, ich trinke kurz einen Schluck. Hi, MTV, willkommen in meiner Crib. Das ist übrigens der Raum, in dem ich meine Aufnahmen mache. Verdammt. What's wrong, Junpei? What are you doing on the floor? Hinlegen, sterben, will nicht mehr weitermachen. Well, I thought maybe if I got down here I could see through the glass. It's not working though. You don't think it's just a large sheet of glass they put into an indentation? I don't know. I mean, why would they do that? And the placement of the chair. You're not making sense, Junpei. What's your point? Well, I'm not sure, but don't you think there's something under the glass? Ach, das hier ist Glas, ja? Maybe the glass is one way, like they have in a police station, you know? Or maybe it's just covered with something that makes it opaque. No, it doesn't matter how close I get, I still can't see anything. Echoes when I knock on it, though. I wonder if it's hollow. And you ain't gonna give up on that thing, are you? You know we don't got time for shit like that, kid. Come on, that's why I want to take a good look at it. Think about all the other rooms we've gone through. You never know where you might find a puzzle, you know? We gotta be suspicious of everything. What? Why on earth are you putting your ear to the floor? It's filthy. Oh, that's weird. I think I can hear water down there. I wonder if there's water down there underneath the glass. Too dark to tell right now. Wasser, huh? Ja gut, ich guck mir den Stuhl an. A really creepy chair. The manacles make me think it was used to torture people. Well, we can open these manacles without a key. Can't open them. There's some sort of weird symbol on them. What kind of symbol? Well, if I've got this right, I think it's a sun symbol. Wir kriegen hier den Sonnenschlüssel. Ich glaube, wir kriegen hier den Sonnenschlüssel. Wenn auf den mit einem Schloss versiegelten Manschetten? Nein, Manschetten ist es nicht. Ja, Handfixierungen. Mit den Fixierungen da ein Sonnensymbol drauf ist und wir die ausschließen können sollten, dann kriegen wir hier den Sonnenschlüssel. Das wird spannend. The manacles are still locked in place. They've got a sun symbol engraved on them. These cables are really complicated. Does this thing really need all these cables? Maybe they are for adjusting the voltage, you know. If you power just one cable, then the voltage is low. You turn on more cables if you want more voltage. If you pump electricity through all 10 cables, that'll probably be enough to electrocute someone. Oh man, just thinking about that scares the crap out of me. Let's try not to do that anymore, okay? There's something about those cables that creeps me out. They feel heavy. Grün. There's something on the screen.
This device will conduct the experiment. Once the experiment has been completed, the door will unlock. First, adjust the switches to match the blocks on the sample above.
Huh. I don't know what this thing is, but we gotta figure out this puzzle.
It's right next to a torture chair. Whatever it is, I don't think it's good.
Anyway, we just adjust the switches to match the blocks up on top, right?
You adjust the switches shown at the 4 corners of the screen, then press the check button. Junpei, we don't know what this thing does. You can always come back to it later. There are lots of other things you could do.
Ja, nee. Ein andermal. Whenever you turn on one of these switches, more blocks show up on the screen. So I think you gotta figure out which buttons you have to press in order to get the screen to match the diagram.
Yeah, but it's hard to figure out what button does what. If you want to see how many blocks each switch adds...
Vielleicht hätte ich das ein bisschen ausprobieren sollen, egal.
Just turn on one switch. When all of them are off, there aren't any blocks, right? Then you can see how many each switch adds.
Oh yeah, I get it. Ich will mich erstmal weiter noch umsehen. Das hier. Sieht wichtig aus. Get red, yellow. I think the colors mean... You think the colors mean something? No idea. I mean, red looks more dangerous, but other than that... The bottom of this one looks like it's covered in rust. I don't think it'll move at all. All of the dials are pointing in different directions. Maybe something will happen if I turn them. Huh. Shoot. They're all rusted. I guess turning them doesn't really do anything. There are a ton of knobs here. Doesn't seem like any of them do anything though.
Do you think it's broken?
There are a bunch of buttons here with the letters A through F on them. I wonder if they do anything. Down you go. So if I press it again, back you come. I guess these buttons switch something on or off when you push them. The needle on the gouge is at 0. It doesn't look like it's going to move. Needle on the gouge is at 0. Looks like this catwalk goes across about half of the room. I think it's made like that. Oh Gott, der Ausschlag gerade von meinem Lipsmack. I think it's made like that so you can get around without standing on the floor. Zu der Rückwand sagt er nichts, nur zu den Kabeln. These cables sure don't look very pleasant.
This looks like something from a prison movie.
They come all the way down from the ceiling. Just trying to look up that high is making my neck hurt. Widerlich. Widerlich ist das hier. Was ist das? I thought there was a hole here, but I guess it's got a cover over it. Für einen Moment klang das ein bisschen wie eine Referenz zu Silent Hill 2. There was a hole here, it's gone now. You aren't gonna be able to get that off. It's bolted on there pretty good. Maybe there's something around here we can use to get that thing over there.
Can you see anything in there? If you can't see anything, I don't think we need to bother with trying to open it.
It's too dark to see anything. Oh, did I see something shiny in there? There's something shiny in there? Yeah, well maybe. We ought to check though. It would be pretty bad if we missed something important. Maybe we can find something to take that cover off with.
This tank thing is connecting the pipes.
This looks like it's supposed to split a pipe or something, you know? But this one just connects a pair of pipes. You could have done the same thing with more pipe. Doesn't really seem like they need it here. I wonder if there's a reason for it. Huh. There doesn't seem to be any reason for the tank to be here. I wonder if it serves another purpose. Seven said he saw something shiny in the tank. If we can find something to get the bolts off, then I should be able to open up the tank. Ja, das muss man nicht zweimal sagen. Of course, the entrance is locked.
It's been like that in every room we've been in. What do you expect?
There's no point to try and to go back. Let's just think about going forward, alright? There are a bunch of pipes up near the ceiling. I don't think there's going to be a puzzle up there. At least I hope not. We can't even reach them. Okay, ich guck's mir an. There are a number of ominous looking tools and instruments here. Let's see, we've got an adze, and hammer, a pair of forceps, and these other things are too old and broken. I have no idea what they are. Hey, doesn't this wrench look way too new to be here with all this other stuff?
Yes, it does. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but it's not rusty at all.
Mal mitnehmen. Wrench. Yippee. This wrench looks brand new.
Considering where we found it, we have to wonder how it was used.
Knock it off. I don't want to think about that.
You've already seen plenty of things that are a lot more cruel than that. Hehe. You're unexpectedly sensitive.
Come on, let's not talk about stuff that doesn't matter, okay? Hat sie das schon mal gesagt? Im letzten... Oh, das kommt mir gerade so bekannt vor, was sie da sagt. We need to find somewhere where we can use this thing. Das kommt mir gerade so bekannt vor, was sie gesagt hat. Das hat sie bestimmt schon irgendwo mal gesagt. A brand new wrench. Maybe I can use it to unscrew bolts or something. A number of rusty torture tools are lined up here. I don't think there's anything else here we need. Gut. So. The cover's bolted on there pretty good. Should be able to get those bolts off with this wrench we just found though. Sweet, it's open. The hole's too small. You can't see in, even with the cover off. Well, you can't see in, but I think there's enough room to stick your arm in. Are you sure you want to do that? There could be something dangerous in there. Okay, I admit that scares me a little, but we need to see if there's anything useful in there. Alright, here we go. Arm into the hole. Hey, I think I can feel something. It's small, cold and hard. Doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. Alright, let's see what this thing is. Das ist der Sonnenschlüssel. I knew it. A key with the sun symbol on it. We should be able to open the other door with this. Yeah, but we gotta get out of this room before we can do that. And we're probably gonna need a sun key to do that. But none of the doors in this room have keyholes. I bet we gotta use it on something that's not a door. A key with the sun symbol on it. I don't think it goes to any of the doors in this room. Ich bin gleich wieder da. Bada bing, bada bum. Da bin ich wieder. So, wir haben den Sonnenschlüssel da rausgeholt. There's nothing in there anymore. Okay. Cool, cool. Dann zurück zum Folterstuhl. Yippie. The sun key should fit into the keyhole on these manacles. Alright, sun key, in you go. And yes. Great, they're open. I don't think we're gonna need the sun key again in here though. Just seems unlikely. Alright, sun key, you've done your job. Into my pocket with you. Okay. Kümmern wir uns mal hier drum. Adjust the switches to match the blocks on top and then press the check button. Alright. Aha. Ja, oder? Das ist es. Easy.
Adjustment is completed. Now proceeding to execution phase. To complete the experiment, data must be collected from subject. Once preparation is finished, place subject in chair.
Whoa, whoa, I thought we solved the puzzle already. What does it mean by preparation?
I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about this.
I think this means one of us has gotta sit in the chair.
Well, 7's never going to fit in that thing. It's either you or me, Junpei. Collecting data. I wonder if it's going to run electricity through the subject.
There's a human head on the screen. Maybe it's gonna zap the brain with a little electricity.
This really doesn't sound safe.
Anyway, we still got to prepare. We can talk about this after we figured out what it means by preparation. Alright? Well, it wants us to prepare, so maybe we ought to ask what we need to do. Ask it what we need to do.
Error. The disposal tank is closed. Please fill tank with water.
What tank? Oh man. Don't tell me we gotta do something with a water tank. There's probably something around here to open the tank, or whatever it's asking us to do. Looks like the only controls are in this room. Water tank. Das Ding? There's nothing in the tank anymore. Den Hinweis haben wir auch nicht bekommen, ne? I guess I might as well try. Let's give it a shot. Nope, no dice. This thing isn't going anywhere. Oh, give me that. You just ain't man enough. Sure, pal, you give it a shot. Let's see just how much more of a man you are.
Hey, you're going to break it.
Man, that thing ain't going anywhere. Levers have gotta turn something on. Of course they would. All they can do is turn something on or off. What's important is what they turn on or off.
Don't say the floor is going to suddenly open up.
If 7 can move it, then we might as well give up on that lever. Can see some oil or something down there at the base of the lever. Yeah, it feels like it's got some movement to it. I should be able to pull this one.
Alright, let's pull the lever.
Is that water? What the hell? What's going on? Will you calm down? It's just water going somewhere.
It sounds like it's underneath us. That means the floor. Oh! Junpei, look!
But she... Oh damn! I can see through the glass now. Oh, das mal kurz aus. So. EDBF. There are a couple of letters in the color of blood written on the shark. This is an eye in the shark's belly. It's dead. Looks like the letters are E, D, B, and F. Whatever these are for has to be in this room somewhere. It says E, D, B, and F on the shark's underside. Whatever those letters go to has to be in the room somewhere. Ja, das ist einfach ein toter Ei. Lass uns es einfach nicht kommentieren. Cool. Warte mal, EDBF. I, D, B, F. What?
There's strange noise coming from the chair. It looks like it's been turned on. I guess the puzzle here was that the power had to be sent in a specific way.
The restraining device is unlocked. Please seat our subject in device.
The message on the screen was disturbingly detached. Well, like we thought, it's not going to work unless someone sits in it.
How ironic that this would be the situation in which this slim, beautiful body is useful.
Lotus, are you sure?
I can sit in it and you can solve...
Junpei's right. If we screw it up... 7 couldn't bring himself to finish the thought. His eyes fell to the floor. Junpei followed them. Beneath him was the dead shark floating underneath the glass. Perhaps it had been killed by an electric shock.
I'll be fine. Even if I fall in, the shark is already dead.
But...
No one likes an indecisive man, Junpei. I can still give you advice from the chair too, you know. I just don't want to stay in this room any longer than we have to. Go over to that screen and let's get this over with.
Sie ist so tapfer. Krass. Das hätte ich gar nicht von Lotus erwartet. After her words had made it clear that Lotus would book no argument, she turned and walked toward the chair without hesitation. But she did not sit down. Despite what she had said, she did indeed feel hesitation. Her legs shook.
Look, do you think you could do me one last favor?
Don't say last. You're making me nervous.
Just listen. If something happens to me, I want you to tell my daughters that I love them very much.
Alter. Fuck.
No. Tell them that I will always love them.
Daughters? You've got kids.
Yes, I do. I suppose they're about your age, Junpei. They're twins. I had them when I was young after some things happened. Their names are Nona and...
Wait. Nona? Junpei's words shot out before he even realized what he was saying. He remembered the story Seven had told him. Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were the names. Well, some of them. The kids that were there in the experiment, I mean.
What the hell? What's wrong with you?
Lotus took a step back from Junpei. Seven looked just as shocked as Junpei. He blinked his eyes rapidly as if he weren't sure if he was completely awake. No way, it couldn't. Lotus, is your last name Kashiwabara? Lotus's eyes went wide.
How do you know that?
Are you serious? What the hell is this? There's no way you're that kid's mom.
That kid? What do you mean, that kid? Why are you acting like you've met her?
Seven's brow furrowed. I have.
What?
Yeah, I met one of your kids.
When?
9 years ago.
Where?
On this ship.
Why were you...
It's not a short story.
I don't care how long it is. Tell me, please. What happened here?
Seven glanced at Junpei, then turned back to Lotus and began to speak. It was the same story Junpei had heard only minutes before. Every detail. At last, Seven finished. Lotus shook her head.
Oh my god. Everything I've been looking for the last 9 years. The person who had all the answers was right here.
Looking for?
Yes, that's right. 9 years ago my daughters disappeared. Then 9 days later they came back. They never told me what happened to them over those 9 days. I took them to the doctor, but I was told they hadn't been hurt in any way. Still, I was sure that they had been through something terrible. So I couldn't bring myself to force them to talk about it. If I did, then I'd force them to relive whatever horrors they'd been through. I didn't have any choice. I had to try to ignore it and move on. A few months passed. Gradually, they started to act like they always had before they disappeared. They smiled and made jokes and did all the silly things kids do. It got harder and harder for me to ask them about what had happened. How could I ask them to remember that? Eventually, I knew there was no way I could do it. But I'm still a mother. I couldn't simply forget that something terrible had happened to my children. So I decided I would investigate what had happened on my own. I would find out what had happened during those 9 missing days.
What did you find out?
Nothing. The police pretended to be concerned, but they didn't do anything. Once the 16 children who'd gone missing came back, things were just swept under the rug. Even the media didn't talk about what had happened. I figured someone was probably paying or threatening them to keep their mouths shut.
Cradle Pharmaceutical? No, probably something even bigger than that.
Cradle Pharmaceutical.
Have you heard of them before?
No, that's the first time I've ever heard that name. 7. How did you find out that Cradle Pharmaceutical was connected to the kidnappings in the first place?
I figured finding out whatever the victims had in common would lead me to the culprit. That's what any good cop does.
What did they have in common?
Every single one of the kids who disappeared had gone to this one hospital at some point. The hospital was one of a bunch that were under the control of Cradle Pharmaceutical. After that, it was just about connecting the dots.
The hospital.
The hospital. For a while I was trying to get some kind of story out of the kids at the hospital. One of them told a weird story.
What was it?
Have you heard about the Ganzfeld experiment? I guess all these kids had to go through it while they were at the hospital. I think it was passed off as some sort of counseling.
Seven cleared his throat and proceeded to explain the Ganzfeld experiment. Alter, diese Runde ist gerade richtig gewichtig. Krass, 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 krass. Okay, puh. Ganzfeld experiment, let's go. First, subjects Q and A are put into separate rooms, far away from one another. Then a series of video images are shown to subject Q, who is told to send the images to subject A by thinking about them. Subject A, on the other hand, is put in a large reclining chair and given a blindfold. With their senses cut off, A is asked to guess what images Q is looking at.
Oh yes, I've heard of that. It's a famous telepathy experiment, isn't it?
Telepathy. Telepathy. Junpei rolled the word over in his mind. That's how the experiment on the ship was supposed to work.
The experiment to control people, right?
Yeah. I don't know if any of the telepathy stuff really exists. Alter, der Ausschlag gerade. Mein Mouth smackt ein bisschen zu sehr. I'm so sorry. But maybe someone from Cradle Pharmaceutical bought into it. Lotus grunted. Seven had been thinking hard for the last several minutes and finally spoke.
Even if that is the case, I still don't get how that has anything to do with any of this. The Nonary games, Zero, why we were kidnapped. What does any of that have to do with telepathy? I know I brought all this up, but I have no idea. Maybe none of this stuff is connected after all.
Then, in that moment of silence, a cold voice echoed down from the ceiling.
No subject has been detected. Unless a subject is detected within 60 seconds, all power will be shut down. System recovery is estimated to take 1 hour. If you wish to proceed with the experiment, please seat subject in the restraining device.
Whoa, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going.
Oh no, that's not what we...
Just hurry up and get it over with. Junpei, I'm counting on you.
Right. Lotus sat down on the chair. Junpei looked at her one last time, then made his way out to the monitor. Lotus, please tell me right away if you feel anything weird.
You worry too much.
Now get on with it and be a man, or Jun's going to leave you. Lotus was putting on the best act she could manage, but her legs were shaking so much that if she hadn't been sitting, she likely would have fallen down. Failure was not acceptable. Junpei took one last deep breath and stared at the monitor. Okay.
Das hier, gell? Ich check's mal eben so. Aber ich will gar nicht wissen, was passieren würde, wenn ich das falsch mache, ne? Deswegen probier's auch gar nicht aus. Nein, hier stimmt doch was nicht. Ich mache nochmal alles aus. Und jetzt gehen wir das der Reihe nach durch. Okay. Was passiert, wenn ich hier auf 1 gehe? Dann drehen sich das, das und das um. Und die ganzen Sachen, okay. Das ist nicht leicht. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich das gerade eben schon hatte. Hier passt es jetzt. Hier passt es nicht. Jetzt würde es hier auch passen. Nein, da fehlt noch der hier. Oh ja, ist das kompliziert. Verdammt. Okay. Ich mache mir mal ein kurzes Paint auf. Ich glaube, ich schneide das raus.
Eine Ewigkeit später.
Calm down, Junpei. Just look at it carefully, alright? First off, the number of blocks ain't gonna change. All that's gonna change is the shape. Just like in the first game, you gotta match your pointy blocks to the ones up top. Do you know how to figure out how many blocks change with each switch? Yeah, turn everything off, then just do one switch at a time, right? Close enough. You just gotta pay attention to how many blocks change. Alright, Junpei. It looks like you've gotta match the number of pointed blocks. You can rotate it to the left and right, but the switches work a little different. Just focus on how many blocks are changed when you press the switch. How many blocks are changed? 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Eins, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ups. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. I think that's it, oder? Die 6, dann der, dann die 6. Die 3, ein einzelner. Die 3, ein einzelner. Ich glaube, das ist es. Oh, ich habe so ein riesen Paint-Building aufgemacht und dabei ging es einfach nur darum. Danke, Seven, danke.
The experiment has concluded. The door will now unlock.
I can hear the door unlocking. And now I've got a new message.
Release subject from restraining device.
Lotus, are you alright?
Yes, I am. I'm glad nothing bad happened, but I do think my life just got a little shorter.
Hold on, I'll get you out right away. Shouldn't take long for Seven and me to get her out of here.
Let's get out of here now. Being a guinea pig is not for me.
Damn straight. I don't ever want to see this thing again. Raus hier. Aber schleunigst. The exit is unlocked. No need to sit here. Puh, puh, puh. Gott sei Dank. Oh mein Gott. Das hat ewig gedauert. You found it. Yay. Outside of the room, a hallway led off to the left. With nowhere else to go, they started down it. It turned left twice before they saw the elevator. In silence, they jogged up to it. Junpei pushed the C button. The elevator motor ground away, and before long they found themselves once again on C deck. The door opened and they stepped off. They'd expected to find 4 other people waiting for them. There were none. Where did they go?
I have no idea.
Ich habe ein ganz mieses Gefühl bei der Sache. Lotus shrugged. Something in the pit of Junpei's stomach stirred. He tried to forget the feeling and took off down the long hallway before him. Seven and Lotus followed at a run. They ran and ran and ran. The hallway seemed endless. The destination had already been decided. The door behind the central staircase. There was a sun symbol engraved on the keyhole of that door. And Junpei had the sun key in his pocket. That key would open the door. It had to. That was why they ran for the central staircase. They had run for quite some time when they arrived at the door that ended the hallway.
Wir haben nicht den Schlüssel. Wir haben den Schlüssel nicht. Scheiße, wir haben nicht den Schlüssel.
Vielleicht wird's ja gut. Junpei stopped. He laid his hand on the doorknob, his breathing heavy. Seven laid a hand on his arm. Hold on a sec there. Huh? We don't have the key for this one yet, right? There is the Jupiter symbol engraved on the keyhole, over the keyhole. Seven was right. They had no Jupiter key. Then we can't open this door. Scheiße! Mann!
Unfortunately, no, we can't.
Wo war der nochmal? Der war im Labor, ne? Verdammt. Jeez. The sun door is gotta be just on the other side of this, you know? Frustrated, he twisted the doorknob. The door opened. Warte mal, halt, stopp. Wer ist noch übrig geblieben? Ace ist übrig geblieben, Santa ist übrig geblieben, Clover und June. 14. Aber das reicht nicht. Wer ist denn durch Tür 8 gegangen dann? Haben die June zurückgelassen? Ich glaube, die haben June zurückgelassen, weil Ace, Clover und Santa könnten zusammen durch und den Schlüssel holen, nur durchgehen. Alter, wenn jetzt irgendwas mit June passiert ist, ne? Ich zerbeiß alles hier. The door opened. Hey, it opened. What?
The others must have found the Jupiter key.
Well, what are we waiting for? As he spoke, he shoved the door the rest of the way open. They rushed through and stopped cold. The terrible scene before them made their blood run cold. 3 people lay dead on the floor, covered in blood. Wo ist June? Junpei felt a cold sweat trickle down his spine. He couldn't breathe. His legs shook. His body felt cold, deathly cold. But his blood was boiling hot. He could feel his mind begin to fade. He couldn't think, he couldn't concentrate. His mind was blank. What the hell? What the hell happened? Seven's voice was weak and broken. He edged toward the bodies, his movements stiff. He bent down over Clover and pressed his fingers to her wrist. Nothing. She's dead. Suddenly, Lotus moved. Before he understood what was happening, her hand was in Junpei's vest pocket. Hey, what are you doing? He leapt back. Lotus looked up at him, terrified.
The key. Give me the sun key.
Why?
Why do you think? We have to get out of here before the murderer comes back.
The murderer. The murderer. Once again, Junpei looked at the dead bodies. Santa, Clover, and Ace as his June. That meant that the person who had killed them was... No. No, it couldn't be true. Before Junpei could react, Lotus dove back into his pocket and came out with the key.
Let's go!
Without waiting for Seven or Junpei, she ran straight for the central staircase. They followed. Junpei shut his eyes and swallowed his emotions. Morning would have to wait. Soon they stood in front of the door. Lotus shoved the sun key into the keyhole and twisted it hard. But...
Why?
What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. It didn't feel I didn't feel it unlock.
Oh no. Is it the wrong key?
I don't know, maybe.
Lotus sighed, defeated, and leaned against the doorknob. She felt it twist. A small gap appeared between the door and the frame. What the hell is this?
You mean the door was already unlocked?
Why?
How would I know that? Whatever, let's just go.
Die Tür war schon aufgeschlossen, aber wir haben doch jetzt erst den Schlüssel dafür gefunden. Lotus took a deep breath and slowly opened the door the rest of the way. They stepped inside. In front of them was another hallway. It stretched out toward the bow of the ship. They began to run. Faster and faster they ran, trying desperately to reach the end of the hallway. After a few seconds later, they were there. In front of them stood a massive metal door. They were all breathing heavily as Junpei spoke. What the hell is this door? I can't see anything that looks like a doorknob or switch or lever or card reader. Or anything. How the fuck are we supposed to open this? We don't have a choice. Gonna have to go back.
No, no. I'm not going back there. There's a murderer back there.
There was a more stark terror in Lotus's voice than authority. She was almost begging. But I don't see any other doors. As he spoke, Seven stepped toward the door in front of them, as if to illustrate that it was the only door. Alter Magic Mike. It opened. Nothing surprising. A simple automatic door. Look guys, I've got a really bad feeling about all this. The other doors were already unlocked and this one's automatic. We haven't seen anything like this before. How could the situation possibly get worse? 3 people were already dead. They'd hit the bottom, Junpei told himself. There was nowhere to go but up. He stepped through the door. And whatever hope Junpei had managed to summon disappeared. No. No. It wasn't true. It couldn't be true. It was impossible. Utterly impossible. It was a dream. It had to be a dream, a nightmare. Yes, it was a nightmare, and if he could just wake up, he was seeing things. Yes, that was it. This was a hallucination. A lie. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. It wasn't real, right? June. No, the code names meant nothing now. Kenny. Junpei cried out and leapt through the door. He flew to her side, his heart like a stone in his chest. Kenny, hang on. Junpei swept her up and shook her by the shoulder. She moaned and her eyes fluttered open, but only barely. Kenny!
Junpei.
Her face was pale and her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes were blank and cloudy. They stared straight at Junpei but saw nothing. Junpei put his hand against the small of her back to hold her up. It felt warm and wet. He lifted his hand up. It was covered in blood. Oh man. Kenny, what the hell happened to you? How did this happen? It was all he could do to not break into tears.
Junpei, I'm sorry.
Her voice was thin, a minuscule thread that was the only thing keeping her with him.
I might not make it.
No way. No way am I gonna let you die. I'm gonna save you, I promise.
Thank you, Junpei. Thank you so much for everything. I was really happy to see you again, Junpei. Really happy.
Don't give me that I was crap. You're gonna see me again lots more times. You've just gotta hang on, alright, Kenny? What could he do? He looked up from Kenny, desperate for something, anything. Then he saw it. A small submarine. A submarine? What on earth was a submarine doing here? No, that didn't matter. Nothing mattered except saving Kenny. That was the only thing he wanted. Junpei turned his head back to look down at her. Hang on, alright? There's a submarine over there. I'm gonna go see if it works.
No. Don't go. Please don't go. Please just stay with me, okay? I want to be close to you, Junpei. When I...
Kenny.
Junpei, did you know? You meant a lot to me when we were kids. I've liked you for a long time, Junpei. A really long time.
Junpei's vision had gone blurry. It took him a moment to realize his eyes were filled with tears. He could feel a piercing point of heat deep down in his heart, like a white-hot flame.
Junpei, do you remember how we hung out a lot when we were kids? We went to the pool and to the fair. Do you remember playing snowball at the school? They're all memories I'll never forget. All of those moments are treasures to me. But I also wanted to go to a lot of other places with you. A lot more. But that won't happen now. No, I mean yes, it will happen. We'll go to all sorts of places, Kenny. You hear me? I promise, we go wherever you want. Really? Yes, really, I swear. That makes me happy. Really happy.
She said it to herself over and over, a weak smile creasing her tired face.
Junpei, I feel sleepy.
No, Kenny, don't fall asleep.
Thank you, Junpei. Thank you so much.
Her eyes were slowly closing. Junpei screamed even as he felt his throat go hoarse. Kenny! 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 Time passed. Junpei wept, curled around Kenny's body. He cried and cried until he had no tears left. When the last tear fell, Junpei was no more. His body remained, but only as an empty shell. Somewhere he heard a bell ring. It was the clock at the central staircase. It rang 5 times, then faded. 5 o'clock. Quietly, gently, softly, he set Kenny down on the floor. Slowly, Junpei stood. Only then did he realize that Seven and Lotus had not followed him. Where had they gone? Slowly he looked around the room. There was nothing. No sign that they had ever been there. It felt as though every part of Junpei's body was made of lead. Slowly he made his way to the door he'd come through. As he approached it, it opened, sliding apart with a sound like grinding stone. Junpei passed through the gate and into the hallway. Wie? Oops. His heart rattled in his chest, an empty, lifeless thing. It had been so utterly broken that there was nothing left to feel. When he saw their bodies, he simply stared. It was a lake, a sea of blood, 2 bodies lay in it. There was no need to check. There was no breath left in them. His eyes lit on Lotus's wrist. Her bracelet. It was gone. He stared. It meant nothing to him. He didn't care anymore. He couldn't care anymore. Junpei's body felt numb. A part of him knew the lump of lead in his chest had once been a heart. He couldn't quite remember what it had been for. Tears poured from his eyes in great streams. He wasn't sure why. He gave up trying to make them stop. He turned around. The door opened again, and slowly, numbly, he walked through. He kept walking. Why stop? An object set in motion. Simply inertia carried him forward. Eventually he found himself in front of the submarine. His arm reached for the hatch. And then he was floating in water. His eyes stared down into it. He couldn't see the bottom. His back was hot. Dimly he felt the blade of a knife in it. Who? One dead body lay behind door number 5. The body of the 9th man. Another lay in the shower room. The body of Snake. At the central staircase were 3 more. Aber der einzige Tod, der hier confirmed wurde, war der von Clover. Von keinem anderen, nicht von Santa, nicht von Ace. Einer von denen könnte es gewesen sein. Einer von denen könnte hier in diesem Bild gerade so tun, als ob er tot wäre. Ace, Santa and Clover. Just outside the door were 2 corpses. Those of Seven and Lotus. And in this very room lay the body that had once been Kenny. And now Junpei would join them. Who, then, had killed them all? Who? Junpei let out one last breath. Faintly he felt the bubbles creep up the side of his face. His consciousness faded quickly, dissolving away into the cold, gentle lapping of the water. Ach, jetzt kriegen wir Credits? Wir kriegen Credits. Das ist ja nett. Vom letzten Ending haben wir keine Credits bekommen, oder? Okay, Dinge, die mich stören. Alles da dran stört mich. Verdammt nochmal. Okay, pass auf. Was haben wir hier? Wir haben das Problem, wir sind durch Tür 2 gegangen. Mit Lotus und sag schnell, 7. Okay, pass auf. Wir haben den Sonnenschlüssel gefunden. Wir waren das. Wenn es nicht noch einen zweiten Sonnenschlüssel gibt, ist es eigentlich unmöglich, dass die Sonnentür aufgeschlossen werden konnte, bevor wir dort ankamen. Dann auch dieses Ding. Also alle wurden erstochen, irgendwie. Also, die lagen alle im Blut. So, Clover ist confirmed dead. Wie gesagt, Santa und Ace, da haben sie nicht mehr gecheckt, ne? Da sind sie dann schnell losgezogen. Alibi hat aktuell Junpei, Seven und Lotus offensichtlich. Clover, sie ist tot. Ich dachte vielleicht, das ist the end. Or is it? Oh boy! Would you like to keep the information you've gained through this playthrough? This data will be retained in your save file. If you restart the game, you will still start at the beginning. Ja. Okay, das ist das U-Boot-Ending. So, gucken wir mal. Memories of the Escape. Wir haben jetzt die Third-Class Cabin, die Second-Class Cabin, die Kitchen, den Operating Room. Da fehlen uns immer noch 2, ne? Ich frage mich, was das sein könnte. Ich frage mich auch, ob das Hints da drauf sind, welche, das ist das in Tür 1. ob das Hints daraus sind, in welcher Reihenfolge man, oder in welcher Folge man die Räume machen soll, um Ending zu kriegen. Aber das würde hier dann schon wieder halt den hinten runterfallen, ne? Das würde hier schon nicht mehr passen. Aber wir fangen immer in diesem Raum hier an. Das ist also hinter Tür 9. Und das ist hinter Tür 8. Die ganzen Räume haben wir jetzt. Was fehlt uns also noch? Uns fehlt der Raum aus Tür 8, das Labor. Ist das hier? Hinter Tür 9 gibt es anscheinend... Also hinter dieser Tür 9, ne? Es gibt ja 2. Und hinter Tür 1. Okay, ich dachte eigentlich, June hätte die drei Schweinchen umgebracht. Apparently not. Ich kann mir vorstellen, wer auch immer die Morde begangen hat, ist losgezogen, Stabby, Stabby, Stab, hat Clover umgebracht. Definitiv confirmed. Panik ist ausgebrochen, also keine Ahnung, vielleicht, die hätten ja eigentlich vor Tür 4 warten müssen. Vielleicht waren sie so, oh ja, hier ist irgendwie, hier vor Tür, verdammt, vor den Elevator, den Mystic Elevator, hätten die warten müssen. Dann waren die so, oh ja, keine Ahnung, ist so boring, lass uns mal einen anderen Raum machen. Okay, die gehen also in, also ich habe ja schon festgestellt, Raum 8 bringt den Schlüssel, den Jupiter-Schlüssel hervor. Und nur Ace, Santa und Clover zusammen hätten Raum 8 machen können. Also die drei machen zusammen Raum 8. June, keine Ahnung, was sie macht, holen den Schlüssel dabei raus, gehen in den Central Staircase, gucken, was es da so gibt. Irgendjemand geht auf einen Stabbing Spree. Step, 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 Step. Okay. Clover trifft's als erstes. Trifft's confirmed. Also, ich weiß nicht, ob es vielleicht Santa oder Ace oder beide irgendwie zusammen vorher noch getroffen hat. Panik bricht aus. Aus irgendeinem Grund ist die Sonnentür auf und June versucht dorthin zu fliehen, sieht aber, oh, es gibt keinen Ausweg, Step. Wer auch immer diese Morde begangen hat, ist zurückgelaufen, hat sich irgendwo versteckt. Ob es jetzt Santa oder Ace waren, wo dann einer von beiden sich nur so getan hat, als ob als ob er halt tot wäre, hat sich versteckt, hat gewartet, bis Seven, Lotus und Junpei zurückkommen, das Chaos sehen, versuchen durch die Sonnentür zu gehen. Junpei rennt vor, hat einen letzten sehr tragischen Moment mit June. Währenddessen bringt unbekannter Mörder noch Seven und Lotus um. Aber Seven und Lotus können es nicht gewesen sein. Junpei kann es auch nicht gewesen sein. Die waren nicht da. Also ich glaube, entweder ist es Santa oder Ace oder wir sind wirklich nicht alleine auf dem Schiff. Aber ich frage mich, wer es war. Verdammt. Okay. In dem Sinne mache ich dann hier mal einen Cut. Ich sage vielen Dank fürs Zusehen, fürs Dabeisein. Wir haben ein richtiges Ending geschafft. Also das Ending, ne? Warte. Sieht man es hier? Warte, continue. Ja, wir haben ein richtiges Ending geschafft. Aber ist es wirklich ein Ending? Kann ja nicht sein. Kann nicht sein. Und wir machen dann an der ersten Branching-Stelle das nächste Mal weiter. Und schauen mal, in welche Richtung wir diesmal gehen. Ich habe ein paar Anhaltspunkte, wie ich was machen möchte. Aber wir gucken einfach mal. Wir gucken einfach mal, was läuft. Goddammit, ich hoffe, irgendwann werden wir auch in der Lage dazu sein, den 9. Mann und Snake zu retten, weil holy fucking shit, alles bricht auseinander, sobald die beiden tot sind. In dem Sinne, vielen Dank fürs Zusehen und wir sehen uns dann in der nächsten Aufnahme wieder. Bis dahin, ciao, ciao.